On Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Your Football Show. I hope you are all doing well. Please do smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. It is still playoff final week. Many previews aplenty. Speaking with the Southampton fan tomorrow from Matchday Vlogs. The best thing about that is we've come up with this like WWE style thumbnail. I mean, it was his idea. I just ran with it because, you know, I like my wrestling anyway. You will see that tomorrow. There's been transfer news and all sorts of plenty, but look, it's the big one. Ben called it on Twitter. What was his actual wording was the biggest game in football. Yeah, the biggest game in football. It is, of course, Leeds United versus Southampton for a place in the final. And, of course, whenever we talk championship, we have to get on the best championship content creator there is known to man and woman and everything in between. It is, of course, Benjamin Bloom. So let's welcome him in. Ben, how are you?
Frozen, apparently.
You're there. I can see you, and you're moving and everything.
Am I? My screen's not moving this end, so this could be an interesting. This could be an interesting chat for me, but I'll roll with it anyway. I don't know what my computer's doing, but if you can see and hear me, then I can see myself now. What's this WWE thing? If you were, what wrestler are you, Joe?
Oh well, I think I'm giving big. I'm gonna show you. Just I think I'm giving big boss man vibes, but I'm gonna share it with you. Just because he sent me 3 pictures and he went, "I've gone for a WWE
He's
vibe."
Put a lot of work into this, hasn't he?
Oh, honestly, you should see the pictures he did send me. But this is what we've gone with.
My computer is completely
you can't even
frozen,
see it, can
so
you?
I can't
nightmare.
see it.
There you go.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to be very.
You'll have to watch it back, mate. You'll have to watch it back.
Oh, I can. I did just see it one second ago.
Yeah. Not as good as I probably build it up for, Ben, but I enjoyed it. You know?
When I get out of the bath for 3 seconds, I can do Bret Hart with the hair completely soaking wet. You know.
I love that. I have just checked on YouTube. You're definitely working at this end. That's the main thing. People in the chat, let us know for sure, because now Ben's worrying me. But I think we're good. Ben, how are you though? First and foremost, obviously, still we were just talking just briefly off there. We've got to touch on Ipswich. You're now a Premier League club. Bit nervous about the current situation with everyone sacking the manager left, right, and centre, and Kieran McKenna's the hottest property in Premier League football, it would seem. So, how is you doing right now?
Well, I mean, it would have been lovely. We were joking about it, you know, feet up, watch the playoffs, enjoy all the carnage, and then all of a sudden, the best period you've had in 20 years, you know, the last 2 years, could be bookended, could be over, and a new period starts. But it's difficult to complain when you've had back-to-back promotions and you flip from, you know, I don't want to belittle the stages of grief or whatever they are, of denial. What is it? Anger,
denial, acceptance. Yeah,
you just need to get to acceptance as soon as you can. And he's not going to be with us forever. But we would have liked at least a week after promotion.
Of course, yeah, exactly. Has there been any exciting names linked yet? I mean, because I know when you got the Premier League agents, I just always and you get the wildest links at times. But is there any that you've gone, oh wow?
Joe, everything's just been dominated by the Brighton thing, and now of course Chelsea have moved as well. So God knows what's going on. I don't want to know.
No, they want a new younger coach. It seems Thomas Frank's been linked as well, but Kieran McKenna definitely falls into that.
Yeah, but then Kieran McKenna will be linked with the Brentford job. It would just be never 100%. Ending, won't it? Yeah.
Sorry, Ben. Like you said, I'm laughing because you should be over this sort of trepidation that you're currently feeling. It should be me, and I'm like, seeing your pain, I'm enjoying it a little bit because I'm going through it right now. If you know
right.
But of course, it is, like you said, the biggest game in football this Sunday. all eyes are on it. The football calendar's done. The FA Cup's done on the Saturday. Manchester United, Man City. So it's literally the last game, really, in the English football calendar, isn't it? The one that will see one of the teams propel to the Premier League and come with it the riches and all the notoriety and all that sort of stuff. Are you going to the game, Ben? Are you? Yeah.
I will be there once again. I'm trying to work out how many I've been to now, because obviously I went to Ipswich Barnsley back in the day, and then recently I've been at Fulham Villa, Derby Villa, which other ones? Huddersfield Forest, Luton Coventry. Yeah, so this will be. I think this will be my 6th Championship playoff final, which I'm very.
Are you in the press box?
I'm not. I'm in the Southampton end, which will be very popular on this.
Yeah.
This one, well, for obvious reasons, given Leeds' ticketing systems.
Yeah, but not only that as well. Like, a lot of Southampton fans have come at Leeds saying, well, we've sold ours out. And it's like, there is actual Leeds fans that have actually bought Southampton tickets because it was only a £20 membership. So Southampton need to tighten that up, whereas Leeds United had this tiered system, season ticket holders away, and then you had to have been 9 games, 5 games. So, yeah.
Well, to be completely transparent, Joe, I'm pretty lucky because a lot of people that follow me know, even when I go and see Ipswich play away, I sit on halfway in the home stand.
Yeah.
Which normally, in occasions like this, you then have a ticket history with every club. So
yeah, you're quite lucky in that respect.
Did no pay 20 quid for a membership.
All good stuff. So, who's your really favourite, Ben, looking at the game? Because I genuinely can't call it. I'm nervous because they beat us in regulation season, but then we see this week the 2 League One and League Two playoffs were won by teams that had lost in regulation season. I think Oxford had been beaten both times by Bolton, and then you had Crawley and Crewe, wasn't it? So that gave me a little bit of like, oh, okay, it can be done. Someone reminded me as well today. I thought I'd got rid of that memory, but Derby, obviously, we battered in regulation season, and then we played them in the playoffs, and they beat us.
We beat them 3 times, essentially, didn't you?
Yeah, in effect. So, who's your really early pace setter, would you say, or is it too hard to call?
It's so hard to call, isn't it? And you're not going to be able to appreciate this, but it's a great final. Of course. You know, you got 2 teams who are amongst the best squads that are both going to play. I know playoff finals always end up being nervous and one goal in it and under 2.5 goals most of the time. But hopefully, take me back to the World 90s when it was like 4-3 and 4-2 every year or something like that. And yeah, like you, everybody's looking for patterns, aren't they? You're looking for patterns in League Two and League One. You're looking for patterns from the regular season. Knockout football, though, isn't it, mate? And it's all down to what happens on the day. We can make a lot of judgments based on the 46 games and, you know, try and put them in. And we can make judgments based on the 2 games between the 2 sides. But as you and I discussed, are they even relevant given where they were positioned in the season? I think I was talking to Sam Parkin earlier, and he did the Southampton game, and he said your back 4 was Byram, Shackleton, Strowick, and Cooper. Yeah. So, you know, why would we judge against that game when the back 4's literally going to be completely different? So, I have theories, but I'm sure we'll get into those.
Yeah. You make a great point, though, and I know you'd mentioned before, I think, saying how, like, the second Southampton game, it didn't really have any bearing on it, really. Ipswich were already up, you know, they had Huddersfield and
silly season, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a little bit off kilter. What did you make to Daniel Farker over the 2 legs against Norwich? Because I wasn't very confident, Ben. I know we spoke before that I almost felt that Wagner would out-tactic him during the playoffs, you know, get a draw or maybe shithouse one at Ellen Road. And it turned out to be on the flip side, really. He went with 3 in midfield at Carrow Road, the game you were at. Just not lose. Let's not concede. We then go back to Ellen Road, and when he'd gone back to the 4-2-3-1, I went, oh, I'm not sure I like it. I wish he'd... And look how well we played. Probably the best performance of the season. Pirro's best performance in the 9 also. I can't think of a Leeds player that had a poor game, if I'm honest. Meslier stood up to the Sargent chance. You know, we were phenomenal from minute 1 right through, Ben.
Yeah, and I suppose it's one of those ones where you can like retrospectively fit your narrative on, and you can say that he nailed it, knowing what happened. If the plan, and I don't know this to be fact, but if the plan was, as you said, Leeds are not very confident, they're struggling for form, it's sort of 1 win in 6 or something going into it, and if the plan was shut out, you know, keep it tight, don't lose, and then go back to what got you the big winning streak. If that was the plan, then that is essentially exactly what happened. It was just spooky Sargent going through, though, at exactly the same scoreline, at exactly the same end, at the same point in the tie as Jack Marriott did. It was just a real spooky thing, wasn't it? And
we even had the scarves and stuff, which...
Yeah.
Straight evoked emotions in Leeds fans. They were like, what are you doing, you know?
No, and Sam said as an ex-striker, he said Sargent picked the hardest finish. That he could have gone through the legs, he could have gone round, and the dink was the hardest one, and he almost went through, and he'd like decided before, and Meslier telegraphed it. But you tell me, have you ever seen a more one-sided, particularly a second leg, in the playoffs? It was a massacre in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a cakewalk, and I think it's not too wild to think that it could have been 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Because the mad thing is, I thought Angus Gunn was poor for the first, poor for the second goal, but still kept a lot of chances out at the same time as well. You know, like, I think what really impressed me, Ben, in the second half, within 30 seconds, Pirro missed a point-blank chance that he hit straight at Angus Gunn.
Straight down the middle at him, wasn't it? Yeah.
But I was thinking, this is 30 seconds in, and Farke, who normally is like, right, let's control the game and can... You know, some fans perceive it as boring football at times this season, but he sort of went for the jugular straight away in the second half, and I thought, oh, wow, yeah. So Leeds United meant business, really, and like you mentioned, I can't remember something, you know, such a one-sided game in such an important game for sure. Yeah, it was phenomenal. I don't think anyone put a foot wrong. Just with that in mind, obviously, in Southampton, Ben, 1 second, I'm getting a call here through. I'm getting a call from Locks, which worries me that something's... is everything okay? Let me check. Because he's just called me, and normally he's watching, so I'm thinking he's alerting me to the fact that something's dodgy with YouTube. Is everything good, folks, in the chat? I'm hoping it is.
I can't see the chat. I'm frozen up this episode.
You're frozen up completely. Mine froze a little bit earlier on as well. I need the chat to tell me if we're good to go. Sorry about this, folks. Let's just have a look.
I think it's my end, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, all good, all good. He should know not to ring me then at this time, and I will be having words with him.
Selfish.
So yeah, Farke went with that free midfield, and we've been away at Carrow Road. And we've been chatting
Joe,
about...
why did you not like that he went back to it? Because when he went back to it, I thought, okay, this is how they win.
Because I think it was because prior to him changing to the 4-3-3, we've been terrible. Obviously, we'd had some really poor performances leading up to the end of the season. We get slapped up by QPR. We don't play well against Southampton. It was actually nice to see him switch it up and go there and get a result. I just liked the three midfielder because I think, for me, Ben, that's where most of our issues had come. The midfield was just totally disjointed. At times, people, they were just walking through it. Ilias Chair did. I know he played on the left, but he had, was everywhere at Loftus Road. And then I look at the Southampton game, and Flynn Downs and Will Smallbone had no one within 5 yards of him at times. So that's why I was a little bit frustrated, because I was almost thinking, I felt the 4-3-3 would have worked better had we have taken Rutter out and started Pirro, and that was my hope. Go back with 4-3-3, drop Rutter, play Pirro. But then he did the 4-2-3-1, and everybody was phenomenal. Like Rutter was back to his best, you could say. So, yeah, it just shows why he's a manager, Ben, and I'm just a guy sat talking on in a spare room,
Same.
It's mad. But what I do want to chat to you about that 3 because there's a conversation, or at least in my head, but I've spoken to other content creators about it as well. How Farke plays the final, because in both games we played them, they've sort of had the run of the midfield. You know, they've got Aribo, Smallbone, Downs, Kyle Walker-Peters inverts and plays in there, and there's a 4 at times. And I do wonder how he's going to go about it. Like, does he go just 4-2-3-1, our way will win out, which it hasn't already this season, or does he look at that game against Norwich and say, well, if I pack out that midfield and put 3 in there and keep it tight for a bit, then let the shackles off? I mean, what do you make to that? I don't know. I genuinely don't know how he's going to go, by the way.
I think, and we could get there on Sunday, and I'll be totally wrong. I think Farke's going to keep his poker face, and he's going to do what has been most successful for Leeds. And I think he's going to say, big following, big occasion, big club, big players, go do your own thing and win the game. I think if anyone's going to try and I'm going to say overthink it because they might get it right, but if anyone's throwing in a curveball, I think it's Russ Martin. I think Farke, when he's always been at his best through Norwich and through Leeds, it's been just consistency, just, you know, building on the patterns of play, building up a winning team and a winning mentality and a winning run. And I think that was enough affirmation. Also, think about what type of game it's going to be. And I think the Leeds falling over at the end of the season was against Sunderland, who sat in, against Blackburn, who sat in. Think about the games against Ipswich and Norwich, where it was a tit-for-tat attacking game and Leeds got in front.
Yeah.
And then just, you know, were just horrible to play against because, you know, they just... Those wide players then get a little bit of space and you can't get near Somerville and Nonto then, can you? So I think Farke would be more likely to stick and Martin would be more likely to twist. But I'll quite happily come on here after the final and say you're wrong.
Do you know? Because it was quite interesting.
Sorry, we got an idiot in the chat. Put that idiot up there. Ben really does hate Martin. Put it up there. Put it up there. Pathetic comment.
It's up, mate. I know you can't see it, but it's up.
Oh, no, I can see it now. I hate Russell Martin. How many times have you met Russ Martin? Because I've met him more times than you have, mate. And I don't hate him. And I give him plenty of credit. And he finished 4th in the league. And we're having an adult conversation. And if you're going to be a douchebag in the chat, Joe's going to block you. Move on.
I love that. While we're on that, because
anger.
Yeah, while we're on that, and you're speaking to the chat, I'm also a fan of Ben's jumper because my son loves dinosaurs, and I was like,
he
would be like.
I have a 3-year-old daughter who loves this jumper.
My son would be the same. So where did you get it, mate? Or do you not want to give away your fashion tips? You know.
Timu Pookie.
Oh, there you go. On Timu Pookie as well. I have to bring it up because it's a personal favourite of mine. There's me as Timu Pookie. I don't know if you've seen that before. We've got the same look, arguably. Oh, you can't see it, can you, Ben?
That's so annoying, this, isn't it?
Oh, God, man. Me jokes aren't landing, folks, because you can't see it. I promise I'm actually quite funny. That was like, what's it, where hay bales go across there as I made that. Right, okay, you're getting a lot of love in the chat anyway for having a go back, which we love to.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it, Joe? You try and give your opinion, and I always say football fans talking to me about bias is like Russell Brand talking to me about addiction. It's like, take a look in the mirror first, man. Come on. We're calling it down the middle. If you can't cope with that, that's on you.
Love that. Yeah, so, you make a good point, though, because Russell Martin did change it for the last game at Ellen Road, because he went with a 3-5-2, didn't he? Which I don't think they'd done a lot of the season. He'd normally gone with a 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1. So he may go again. From a Southampton perspective, or given as a Southampton perspective, I know you're not a Southampton fan, but you know a lot about teams in the division. Who do Leeds United need to fear most? Because all I've got in my head is that midfield. Is Flynn Downs dictating it from deep? Is Will Smallbone go? I've made this comment a few times this week, but it's almost like whenever I see Will Smallbone, he's got this force field that doesn't allow players within 3 or 4 yards of him, because he just ghosts from halfway into the box and gets a shot on goal, and it's like, has no one like seen him just like running straight through? So who for you do we need to be worried about?
I think there's 3, potentially 4. Obviously, Walker Peters, probably pound for pound, maybe along with Archie Gray, just because of his age, would be the most. If you wanted to buy a championship player, Dewsbury Hall as well probably would be the most expensive one. And like you said, he can play right back, left back, move inside. And I know Farker will keep a poker face with Somerville, and he's not going to go following him around and chasing him around, but that can be an issue. Downs is the one, isn't he? All the Southampton fans tell me they're this good with Downs and this good without him. And I would say he's the only player in the 2 squads who's a bit of a central midfield bastard as well, isn't he? In terms of, you know, you leave your foot in and boss the game like that. And Adam Armstrong is just a superb finisher, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, you can tell me about Bamford. I think we're going to see Che Adams, if he's any way fit. I think he goes in there. That would be the 4th one. But Downs seems to be the most important. But maybe Armstrong and Walker Peters have got even more quality, even though he's the significant guy in central midfield. Am I wrong to fear Brooks more than Che Adams then? If let's say, for example, Che Adams is fit, Ben. Because like you say, rightly he'll probably come in, but there's something about David Brooks that I worry. I mean, he likes to take a shot and he's quite greedy at times whenever I've seen Southampton this season, but he does worry me. He's great with the ball at his feet. So am I wrong to say I'd actually prefer Che Adams instead of Brooks? I don't know, because Adams, essentially, if they don't play Adams, there's no centre forward there. And I know you could say the same about Leeds, couldn't you? If Bamford's not around, it's Ruter's a 10 and Piro's a 10, essentially, and one of them's got to play up front. But if you want, I mean, I know you've got big Rodon, so it'll be a fun battle anyway, but at least you've got the player who can back in and get on the end of crosses and all of that jazz. I don't know whether he might think big game and stick Ryan Fraser in just because of the experience, and use Brooks, and they'll also have Sulemana probably on the bench. I don't think they've got as much top line quality as Leeds in terms of the front 4, but they've probably got more depth, haven't they? Especially if Bamford's not around. Yeah, no, they do. And like I've been praising, but I actually think Southampton probably have a deeper squad, a better squad than Leeds, if I'm honest, to call on off the bench. Not first 11, but squad-wise, I think they have more to call off the bench. I think we're quite threadbare. You've got the likes of Dan James, Jadon Anthony. But again, Jadon Anthony is a great player at this level, but just hasn't been used enough. And then underneath that, you're looking at Joffrey and stuff. So, yeah. If Bamford's fit, here's a question for you, Ben. I know you're not a Leeds fan. Well, some of the chat seems to think you're a secret Leeds fan. You're just a fair fan, aren't you? You just give... Apparently not. Apparently I hate Russ Martin with a passion.
Yeah, that's true. But if Bamford's fit, would you bring him back in over a Pirro? Or do you look at that one performance and think you can't change it?
I wouldn't, but Mr. Bielsa and Mr. Farker both tended to pick him whenever he's fit. And as you said, they probably both know they watch him train. There's got to be a reason why these guys he must follow the instructions and
it's wild, isn't it? Sometimes
carry the game plan out, and you know, in terms of the pressing and things of that nature. Sometimes you look at him and you think, proper. Do you remember that hat trick he put in against Aston Villa? And you're like, wow. You know?
Never again has he played that well, by the way. Never again.
But would I put him in? Probably not. But that's not the question. Would Farker put him in? Quite probably. And I remember watching one of Farker's presses, Joe. I know you report on them all.
Yeah.
And he was very decisive. He said he's not going to be around for the semi-finals, but we're looking at the final.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And I've sort of come to maybe cutting my nose off to spite my face, but I'm sort of annoyed at the fact that he couldn't be fit for the semis. Not that it's his fault, but it's like a running theme. Bamford's missed the last game of the season for the last 4 years, and I'm like, there's got to be something in that. I don't know. So I'm like, he doesn't deserve to play in the final, but I don't know. I think you can't change what happened at Norwich, but it is a one-off game and you have to play your best team. And if Farker thinks Bamford is the best man up top, then we have to back that decision. And look, again, recency bias, Pirro was amazing. But prior to that, yes, he was scoring goals, but in the system, looked out of place at times. So it will be interesting to see if Bamford is fit, what actually happens. I did have a super chat. Says, hope you well, Joe. Looking forward to our trip to Flamingo Land when we get promoted. Justin, I don't know about no trip to Flamingo Land, bro, but I like Flamingo Land. I've been many, many times, and if you're willing to pay, then yeah, I'll come along with you, Justin. That's not a problem, because Flamingo Land is quite pricey these days, if I'm honest. So yeah, if you want to take me along, we can do, mate. In terms of if any Southampton fans are watching this, Ben, who do they need to fear, in your opinion, from a Leeds perspective? I know it's easy to just say Somerville, but who else do they need to be looking out for?
But that is it, though, isn't it? It's Leeds, and I mean, it's not just Somerville. It's the way that they all kind of you end up with Ruter going over there and Firpo overlapping him, and well, I think we saw it in the first half, and you're like, oh, those three have decided to start passing to each other again. It's like that means trouble, doesn't it? So it's not just Somerville, it's the quick passing. The biggest fear, and again, I said it about the Norwich game and about the game against Ipswich in December, the biggest fear is if Leeds do get a goal in front and Southampton come out and then Leeds have the chance to counter and have the space, that doesn't smell good if you're a Southampton fan. So it's about keeping calm and don't chase Leeds if you're losing 1-0. You've got to be patient. You're gonna get battered, and we've seen good teams happen. The really interesting one, Joe, is if you think about Leeds' best performances this season, you'd put away at Leicester up there, and they were quite sort of pragmatic. And I'm sure we'd all be shocked if they put on that kind of performance, but that kind of performance has beaten Southampton from lesser teams than Leeds as well. But yeah, of course, Somerville, Nonto, and you don't really score goals from anywhere else, do you?
Not really, no. I mean, Nonto's cross, by the way, for Pirro's goal against Norwich was absolutely...
Oh, but Joe, Ben Gibson, the centre-back. Have you ever seen a centre-half so terrified of coming out of... He was like, well, I'm going to kind of go with you, but there's no way I'm going near you because you're running right past me. And I know it was a lovely cross dropped in there, but that was really, really poor, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But I'm going to take it as what a perfect cross. Hassan makes a good point and says if Manning plays, then Nonto worries me. He doesn't have the pace or the defensive IQ he has. Great going forward, but I know he's been taken out a few times due to that. But yeah, I mean, who else will play there? Could Jack Stevens play there?
It'd be Jack Stevens, won't it?
Jack Stevens. But if it goes with the three at the back, it could be Fraser, right? I think Fraser's been playing left wing back, has he, at times?
He ended. If you looked at his heat map the other night, you would think he was playing, that far back. It's a bit weird though, because my feeling was he used Stevens against West Brom just because of size, because of Bartley and Kipray and Kuslu and all those lads. You don't really need size against Leeds with the set plays, and I don't know. It's not a bad shout. I know Hassan has defamed me, and we'll be hearing from my lawyer later on. But it's not actually a bad shout that whether he could pop Manning in terms of if ball retention is going to be let's be honest. No one wants to defend against Somerville and Nonto. You've got Walker Peters, who's probably your best guy in the league, and it's still going to have a hard day against Somerville, aren't you?
Yeah, no, for sure. To be fair to Hassan, he did apologise to you further up the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. He said, I'm really, really sorry.
Tremendous.
Great.
I feel like a bully now, Joe.
am I right in saying, because I've not done any research, but I've heard it said a few times in the lead up to this, that normally playoff finals are won by the odd goal?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. So my theory on it, Joe, is they were all newfangled in the 90s. Remember, because both your team and my team we've lost every type of playoff final, and we managed to lose the ones where you were playing off against the two legs against the team from the league above. When it's settled on third, sixth, fourth, fifth, home away, and then final at Wembley, we got some crazy finals. And then, as English football caught up with the rest of the world in terms of tournament football and actually realised that tournament football tends to be won by, you know, a bit more pragmatism and the teams that can play the occasion and defend, the score lines have come down and down. Someone will correct me in the chat. I think you're probably looking at Swansea and Reading about 2010 or something. Someone looked that up in the chat. Was 4-2. Right. And I don't remember a lot of goals since, you know. So I think everyone kind of figured it out and it became more pragmatic. That, Joe, is why I've got such high hopes for this one, where we don't have you know, if you got Huddersfield going against Forest,
yeah, of course,
you have one defensive team. And God, remember that Huddersfield Reading final? It was one of the worst ones, you know, I've ever seen in my life.
Yap Stam, just him. I remember when we played them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we had more of the ball, completed more passes," but it was literally between the centre backs all the time, and it was like, "But you're not doing anything with it. You can have the ball. We're already beating you, but you're just going like this." It was wild, man. It was wild. Yeah. So, do you think there's a case? Because I mean, I couldn't cope with this, but is there a case? And I know Leeds fans are petrified of this possibility as well. Like extra time and pens. Could we see?
Well, you tell me, Joe. If it's extra time, surely that's not a 0-0, though, is it? Surely both teams have scored if it goes to extra time. Don't you think?
The quality's there for one of them. Yeah,
exactly.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah, you make a good point. At least someone's found the back of the net in 90 minutes. You would hope so. They're not going to defend that much. Exactly. I hear what you're saying.
Because I was at Luton and Coventry last season, and that was very much, you know, play the percentages. Both sides had kind of breakaway goals and then sat back for the last 20 minutes. And then when it went into extra time, it was, I think Hamer went out for Coventry and it was like, right, penalties then. Okay. You know, so yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, with penalties? I half jokingly said, and the Leeds fans will like this, particularly in the semi-finals, if you want to mess with the playoff format, no penalties and the highest ranking team qualifies. If it's even at 120. Don't think you can do that in the final, though. You have to have a winner, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. You certainly do. I don't think I could handle pens anyway, but I think you make a great point. With the attacking prowess of both sides and the way that they play, there is going to be chances, isn't it? And it's just a case of who can find the net, you know? And I think, I don't think it's as wild as to say this, Ben, but I think the first goal in this game is so crucial.
If Leeds score it, I would agree, because, you know, for the reasons I've said, that if Russ Martin is possibly as emotionally led as we think he is, that could go 2-3-0 Leeds, couldn't it?
Oh, wow. Imagine.
I think the other way round. Joe, before the semi-final, we kind of had Norwich winning a penalty shootout because they had, you know, they were going to be a bit more bastardy and probably spent 90% of their training just practicing penalties, from what David Wagner was said. Do you make Southampton? It'll be Alex McCarthy and Ilan Meslier, and a young Leeds team who were literally fighting over who takes penalties about 2 months ago. So, do you make Southampton favourites if it goes to penalties? Ergo, if it goes to extra time and you're Southampton, you can play for penalties, aren't you?
Yeah, I would back them. Just because I don't have confidence in Meslier saving them. I also worry about the penalty takers we have. Look, for me, Dan James will be on the pitch at that point. He's not a clean striker of a ball. Gio Rutter, if he's on the pitch, he's not a clean striker of a ball. I think the ones that are, you're looking at Pirro You're looking at Somerville and Nonto. Outside
I
of
bet
that,
Archie Gray would roof
yes,
of the net
Archie,
is.
yeah, fair. He would smash it down the penalty,
Yeah.
down the middle, and just into the roof of the net, But I do worry because we lost on penalties to Salford in the cup as well and missed a few in that game. I just, like you've mentioned, Shea Adams, Armstrong, Smallbone, Downs, Kyle Walker-Peters, even Ryan Manning. These, I just think they find the back of the net. So and mentality-wise, I think it's a massive occasion for. I love Rutter, but I just don't fancy him walking to the to the penalty spot from the centre circle and him having the mind to be able to put that down and find the back of the net. I'm just not sure. So
Doesn't feel that way, does it? I'd love to be proven wrong.
Yes, yeah. And to be honest, to be fair to them, they did prove me wrong for the performance at Ellen Road because I didn't expect it because the pressure was on. All them fans, they could have easily crumbled, and they did the total opposite. They went out like absolute machines. And what I did like, and I want to get your thoughts on this actually, Ben, because it's just come to my mind. At full time, there was no outlandish celebrations. They were in the circle. Liam Cooper's barking orders. Obviously, it was Liam Cooper's last time at Ellen Road. You can hear him saying, "One more fucking game," really giving it. Archie Gray stood in the middle, sampling it, taking it in. Ampadu's giving his bit. Then you compare it with what happened at Southampton, and they had the pitch invasion, and it got a little bit naughty with West Brom and that. I'm going to look for any sort of positive, but I looked at Leeds United and I went, no, that's it. They know this isn't done yet. And it almost felt to me like Southampton had gone, yes, we're there. We've already beaten them twice. Let's go. That's how I read into it, or am I just being wild?
I don't think you're being wild. I think, and your Leeds fans in the chat will tell me, I think the whole I predict a riot against Leicester. I think that was maybe in the back of the minds of just there's one to go. Let's applaud a brilliant performance by the team. And it's difficult when you get into the pitch invasion conversation because it gets very emotive and very kind of binary,
like celebration police kind of vibe as well.
I
right?
know, but we admire these guys, and when you see Billy Sharp getting punched by a Forest fan a couple of years ago, and all it takes is for some idiot blindside punch back of the head to a football player, and we got big problems, haven't we? And that's the issue. If you're looking for tiny little things, I do think Southampton didn't win that one. And I know a lot of the Southampton fans were in the stand saying, "Oh, guys, get off the pitch. Not now. This doesn't work now." But I'll get called a snowflake in the chat.
I think that's how I spoke to.
It's about the safety of the players, isn't it?
100%. And I spoke to a Southampton content creator actually, and he said he was annoyed that they'd gone on and that as well. So, like you say, because the way social media is, the way football Twitter is, all this sort of stuff. And listen, it has a massive part to play because you get pundits like Rio Ferdinand talking about football as though he's read it off of Twitter at times. And it's like, wow, it has had such a big impact now. And you see big companies, big media companies almost making thumbnails now like we do on YouTube because they're aware of how clickable and stuff it is now. So, some fans will have that in the back of the mind because if it doesn't go on their day, they will be mocked for the fact that they went on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Just like, and again, I think you hit the nail on the head. The way Leicester and some Ipswich players rubbed it in Leeds United's faces when automatic promotion was confirmed when the Leeds are falling apart again with the I predict a riot. What that showed me is that Leeds United celebrating the way they did, especially with Leicester, really pissed off them Leicester players. Really pissed off Dewsbury Hall. Really pissed off Jamie Vardy. That it gave them enough to want to drive on and make sure that they were automatically promoted. And it almost felt like you mentioned, Leeds United said, right, let's keep our powder dry. Let's get to that final. Let's beat Southampton. And then we can then come back and be like, see? And I'm actually, as mad as it sounds, I could see it in the likes of Ampadu. I could see it in Gray. I thought, They're going to do it. I'm gassing myself up now. We're going to do it, Ben.
I mean, I've got a couple of things to say about it, and I love you Leeds fans, but you're an intense bunch, and you can be an anxious bunch as well. And I guess there was a lot of second guessing, like you say, and overthinking. Yeah, if we celebrate now, we're up for it. And I think sometimes you have to give players a bit of a break, because I've seen Twitter footage, and this will sound like I'm just defending Ipswich players, and I get that people will argue that. That's not unfair to argue, but hear me out. I see Oxford players singing Bolton are falling apart. I think what you get a little bit, Joe, is football players get screamed and shouted at everything they do. They get told to F off every 5 seconds, every corner they take, they get every tackle they put in, they're getting yelled at, obscenities, abused, and they can't ever respond. They can never, ever respond. And I think what you see, maybe from the Leicester players and the Ipswich players and the Oxford players, I think you see the end of the season, it's a bit of a outpouring of, I've just played 46 games, more if you've won the playoffs, 49, whatever. I've got promoted. I've been abused. Let's be honest, every football player of every team gets abused everywhere they go and every match they play. And I think there's a bit of getting off of the chest. And Leeds you're a big club with loads of fans, Joe. Leeds is it's an easy target, isn't it?
It certainly is. It certainly is. We it's something we have to deal with. It is what it is. I think it went a little bit too far, but I actually quite rated Leicester's initial tweet saying I predict a right. It was when it went on for 2 days and 3 days and 4 days, and I was like, come on now, leave it alone.
Joe, I've always said the only way not to lose in football banter is not to play. That's the only, and that's why I don't get involved. I don't play, because you know, whatever you say, someone's coming for you, and
100%.
If someone else says something and they're wrong, they'll just move on to the next thing. There is no, it's like bloody wrestling. It never ends. Never ever ends. So if you're gonna take part in football banter, you're gonna be on the losing end sometimes.
I felt that this season, believe me, with the amount of claims I've made. But I just mute them tweets now. I mute, and they just never happen. They're not.
Do you not go for the block, Joe?
No, I just
find the mute more satisfying.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, as soon as I tweet something that I know could be perceived as anywhere like it's going to get a lot of comments, I just mute conversation, so they'll be just there, probably going mad quote tweeting me, but I'm just not aware.
But Joe, literally everyone I've ever blocked on Twitter, like 5 minutes later, someone sends me a screenshot saying, "Hey Ben, what's this guy? What's this guy?" And he's taken a screenshot of me blocked them. So it's not even the end when you've blocked them. They're going to screenshot the fact you've blocked them, and it's like the kid getting sent out of the class and he's screaming as he's going out the door. You know.
It's so true. Richard Paget with the super chat says, "We always said we're going up, Joe, from the start. Ben is awesome, and so are you, Joe, mate. Thanks for you lads marching on together. It's okay not to be okay. Big up to you, Richard. Thank you for your comment, mate, and I hope everything is all right with you. Ben's channel is linked in the YouTube title. You just need to click it. You'll go straight on over. Make sure you check out that, and it'll be exciting to see Ben do some Premier League content as well next season, no doubt. So hopefully we can be there and enjoy that, and we can continue our chats. You have helped someone's fashion wardrobe. HLC Graphics' wife has ordered the jumper and found it.
Follow me on Twitter and send me a picture of that. I want to see that.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Make sure you do as well. And we'll get some. We might start getting some sponsorship from fashion brands, Ben. You know what I mean? If I wear it, look what some of that kind of vibe.
I think you wear it better than me, mate.
I'm not
getting a bit
sure.
portly now, me.
So am I, mate. Don't worry about that. Right, mate. Let's have a prediction out of you. Let's have a prediction out of you, Ben, as we come towards the end.
I can give you several predictions, Joe. But can we be really honest about this? This is a really hard one to call, isn't it?
I don't have a clue either.
Really hard one. Even if you ask me at 3:01, and I know what the teams are, so I can roughly give you a guess. Oh, he's gone for the Hail Mary. He's done. Oh, Bamford's back. Adams is playing. Whatever. I'm pretty wedded to my both teams to score. I have to say, I'm pretty wedded to the idea if Leeds take the lead, they've won. I don't see it. I can see it being a ding dong if Saints take the lead, which for me as a neutral, you Leeds fans don't want to hear this. That's the one, isn't it? Saints take the lead, and then we're off to the races, aren't we? I don't know whether we get a 3-1. I think we might get 3-1 Leeds in 90. I'm not. Wow. I don't think I'm in on extra time, Joe. But it's the playoff final, so 0-0 at 120 and penalties. Then, yeah.
3-1. Do you think it could go that swimmingly?
I do. That's assuming you've probably gone 2-0 up. They've got one back, and then they're chasing, and you get third. That's. I mean, look. The perfect game for Leeds is Southampton probably get a bit of ball, get a bit bolshy, and you guys start counter-attacking, and here come Firpo and Ruter and Somerville down that side. The perfect game for Southampton is they can get up to 60-65% possession and wear you guys down, and they might have you on a set play at some point, or like you say, a runner from midfield, or just an Armstrong, a finisher's goal, which I don't think you guys are going to score that goal. But it's so hard, isn't it? You're the better team over 46 games. They're the better team over the head-to-head. I think, as you suggested, you've probably got the better star power, whereas maybe they've got the better depth. You're better on the counter. They're better in control. You're better front four. They're probably better in midfield. I would say so. It's a really, really good battle. Is there any other ways that I can say I haven't got a bloody clue, Joe?
I love it though. Because with you saying that you think Leeds could do it, right? You think Leeds could do it 3-1.
They scored 90 points. Of course they could do it. They've
beaten but you're saying
Ipswich 4-0, Norwich 4-0, and beaten Leicester twice.
Your pick is Leeds, though, is what I'm getting.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. But I can see everything in this one. This is not a home run and unless you're predicting emotionally and you've got a vested interest and you want. Then it's a home run, isn't it? But what's your take on any of those 15 theories I've just put forth?
No, it's quite interesting because I was asked to go on to second tier yesterday, and I jumped on, and then I borrowed Ryan for half an hour, and he actually said he thinks Leeds will win. They turned a corner in the second leg, and he said it's Leeds to lose. They should walk it. He said, and I was like, what? And then you've basically said Leeds 3-1, and then I'm going, oh wow, I don't know. Yeah, two.
It's a good point Ryan makes about I think a lot of cobwebs were blown away in that second half as the third and fourth goal. It was 2 at half time, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, 3.
No, it's 3.
Time. Yeah.
So
3.
So the point the third goal went in, basically from the point Melier saved that 1v1.
Yeah, it was.
You're like a lot of, and as you mentioned, Joe, back to the 4-2-3-1. Pirou, confident. Ruter, who's not been himself. Somerville, the covalent bond between Firpo.
Yeah.
Clean sheet. Melier saves a one-on-one. There's lots of things where you'd be like, oh, I'm glad that happened going into a Wembley final for £200 million TV money and the biggest game in football.
Yeah. Oh God, I still don't know how it's going to go. But you and Ryan are both giving me confidence.
Oh, we talk out of our backsides most of the time, though, don't we? Right?
I think it's going to be 1-0 either way. To be honest,
that's more likely. You see, I'm talking about it like it's a league game. If it's a Wembley playoff final, it's far more likely, like you say, 1-0. Yeah,
we've got to score first. We've got to score first. If they score first, I worry. I do worry. So that first goal's crucial, and then I'll see where I'm at. Because like you said, for me, in terms of transitionally on the counter-attack, there's not many better in the league. So if we get the first, Southampton have to come and get one.
I've got a question for you, Joe. How do you think it being at Wembley affects things? Because I do worry about Leeds playing at Ellen Road. I just do. Ever since I was at that Derby game, I have never seen anything like it for a collective anxiety attack of 30. How many is it? Oh, 35,000 people plus
36. Yeah, around
36,000 people plus the most important 18. You know, and Bielsa's sitting there going, "What is going on?" Do you know what I mean?
It was mad, wasn't it?
What do you think Wembley? Do you think you get any of the Leeds United anxiety at Wembley, or do you think, rainbow?
Yeah, well, we've played there once before in League One and lost to Doncaster 1-0. I think obviously the 3-0 loss to Watford would have come at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff at the time, but yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't know if it will play a part. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it will play a part because. No, let's say it won't. I don't know how it can. Like you said, Ellen Road's a different kettle of fish. It's one of them old school football grounds. You're on top of the pitch, and you know,
Joe, Wembley close. Is weird when it's split in half because it's noisy, but also it's not noisy.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Because all the noise and it's so massive and everything goes out the roof that. Although I've got to admit, I won't be popular saying it. I was in the Barnsley end last year when Sheffield Wednesday scored in the 123rd minute to win it. That was bloody loud. So it's just weird, you know, a stadium being split in half for the sound.
Yes, it's wild, isn't it? It's wild. But hopefully Leeds United do come out on top. Ben says they will, so if we don't, it's his fault.
Mate, you know what I'm like on these weeks? I get interviewed 15 times and I give 15 different predictions, don't I?
Yeah, I can imagine. But Ben, listen, thank you so much.
So are you going 1-0, are you, either way?
1-0, yeah. 1-0 either way. Yeah, that's my prediction. I'm scared, Ben.
I can understand you being scared, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Joe, it's supposed to be fun, mate.
Football's not fun. Whoever said that?
Mate, I've been checking my Telegram all day to see if Brighton have poached our best manager in 20 years. So, yeah, no, it's definitely not fun.
No, it's not. It's definitely not, is it? This is why, honestly, I get so frustrated, right? I was watching a stream last night and an Arsenal fan was preaching how it's unfair about Manchester City now making it a Farmers League. And I was like, oh, poor Arsenal, yeah? What about the rest of us, right? What about the rest?
Go and talk to some bloody Oldham fans, yeah?
No, exactly. Like, oh, you finished second, you can't win the league. Oh, poor you. Do you know what I mean? Mad, but yeah. Ben, tell the people what's happening in the off-season on your channel, because I've had a few comments. How you doing? I already know the answers, but they're saying, how you doing Championship? How you doing Premier League? Do you want to just tell the people?
So, yeah, the Championship, we've built, you know, based on the Championship, so that'll stay. Sam Parkin's hopefully contracted for next year as well, so the Championship Check-In podcast will continue. We'll do some Euro stuff, but look, we will throw in a bit of Premier League stuff with Ipswich guaranteed at least 10 months, although we'll see who the manager is, like you said, Joe, at the start of August. But yeah, whatever happens, Leeds fans, if you're in the Championship, you'll see me next year. If you're in the Premier League, you'll see me next year. And I do think it's good. I know a lot of ex-pros kind of go on and say at the end of the day and just read the league table, but Sam on the channel, you know, he's played hundreds of games in the EFL. He's on every outlet, and I think you're going to want to hear his take on the playoff. He gave me a bit of a tactical breakdown as well today, so check that out. I'm all for new media and fans like me and Joe, but ex-players, when they're well read, are a real sort of benefit. So do check the podcast out.
100% will do. Not to set the, leave you on a sad note, but according to Transfer News Live, Kieran McKenna is the leading candidate to become the new Chelsea manager, mate. So yeah.
We were discussing this before we came on, and then what did you say? Thomas Frank goes to Chelsea, and then he's the leading candidate to become the Brentford manager.
Yeah.
And then so on and so forth.
Yeah. I hope it gets sorted for you, man, and whoever you bring in, I hope it works out, because I was saying that I think McKenna could have like a really shocking type, Bielsa type impact with this Ipswich squad and really surprise people. But with him gone, I look at it and go, oh, I'm just not sure you've got the quality of players. And you might be looking at a David Moyes type of job, which would be totally away from what you've done for the last couple of years. But I hope it works out whatever happens.
But Joe, you never know that. This will sound ridiculous. Ipswich could get relegated with Kieran McKenna and could stay up with Steve Cooper. Do you know what I mean?
It's
true. You don't know what the right thing to do. But I think very much like your Bielsa era. How many years was that, Joe? Was it 4 seasons or
4? Well, 3.5.
Yeah. I think when you have these times, you've just got to accept that you're in a golden time where the players, the manager, and the fans are all aligned.
Yeah.
You're winning, and if it ends now with McKenna, like it did with Bielsa, you've just got to go, that was brilliant. For 2.5 years, that was absolutely brilliant. Drink it in. I witnessed it. I was there. Whatever happens, happens. And, what's Phil Hayes' book called?
And it was beautiful.
Exactly. That type of... Oh, there you go. Yeah. That type of... Is he paying you to have them in there, Phil?
No, I actually bought that one, my man. I went to watch the live sort of reading of it in Leeds. That was fun. And I've got the Bielsa Years here by Rocco Dean, who's a Leeds United writer, but also podcaster. That's brill as well.
Mate, don't worry. I got suckered in by Bielsa as well. Don't you worry about that. I loved it.
Yeah. Still the amount of weeks I would have to come on here and say to people, Ben, you would not, like you've just mentioned, I was there, and I used to say to people, you're living in one of the best times you will ever have as a fan right now, so please don't. And people go, nah, he's gone. We need to get someone in. And then look how it happened. I just went, and then when we went down, they went, I'd rather gone down with Bielsa. And I went, I fucking told you this. But they wouldn't have it. But anyway.
But Joe, I was going to say that about this summer. It's like we've just gone back-to-back promotions. Okay, we're probably going to get a few absolute pastings in the Premier League. But this next 8 weeks is going to be the best ever. And now you're going to take my manager away. What are you doing? Eh?
Exactly, I know. Right, we will end it there. Otherwise, we'll be here all night, and you've got,
I think you need to break up a fight in the chat as well, don't you, Joe?
I know, man.
What
it's
are they
really
doing?
Painful. Steve, you Mr. Dodo, please, man, stop, because I'm trying to work, and I can see it, and I'm like,
chill out,
come on,
guys.
man, it's difficult. Please be happy. Make sure you go subscribe to Ben as well.
Playoff final stress, that is.
Yeah, exactly. What's that thing that Harry Hill does where he goes, fight? Smash a like, subscribe to Ben, subscribe to me, comments in, notification bell. I'll be speaking with Matchday Vlogs tomorrow night, Southampton fan. Probably some transfer stuff in the morning as well, because Joe Rodon looks like he's available. Spurs are good, willing.
This guy's a machine. You're lucky to have him. In the chat.
Thank you. And we'll leave it there anyway. Enjoy your rest of your evening, folks. Thanks again, Ben.